So I request your cooperation and concentration to, and like we can say, just stay tuned with us and we would be trying to give our best to you guys. And yes, obviously we'll be having an application of your by the end of the session. So the today's motto of the session will be explained by the facilitators, and I would like them to start now. Okay, you guys can go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Jay. Let me just share my PPT. Wait a second. So is my screen visible?
Yes, yes.
All right. So let's get started. Welcome back again to the Android Study Jam session. In this session, we will be going over the Room library and how to use Recyclerview with Room. So for the prerequisites for this session, like you, after attending, I think 2 sessions, like you would be comfortable with building an basic user interface for an Android app. You need to have a little bit understanding of SQL databases. Any SQL database is fine, either it is MySQL or SQLite or anything. You should be familiar with using activities and how you can use fragments and views. Not that much, like not advanced knowledge is required, just a basic understanding is fine to understand how the database can be linked with your activity and how you can use Room to do that, right? So for the learning objectives, like today we will be like learning how you can create and interact with an Room database to save data in an SQLite database so that you can persist your data, right? So if you look at the previous sessions, the app which we were making were not that much useful, right? Like you were using some edit text and you were saving that data, but that data was volatile. Like you saved it, it showed in the text view, but after you closed the app, it was not there. So one of the main reasons like we use a database is to persist the data, right? So we will be doing that today. We will learn how to create an data class. I will tell you what an data class is. We will learn how to like create an data access object and how to like map it with the Kotlin functions and to the SQL queries. We will learn how to use the recycler view. So let's go over the concept. So what is Room? So before Room, what happened was that we used to use SQLite database to persist our data. But if any one of you has like used SQLite database with Android before, the procedure was very complex and very difficult, even for like intermediate Android developers, right? And it was very tedious to like link the database with your app and to like save, insert, like perform basic operations. So after that, this Room library was like announced, like it comes with the Android Jetpack library. So it's an persistence library that provides an abstraction layer over SQLite. Like so, in the end, we are using SQLite, but it provides an layer over SQLite so that it makes things easier for us. So we can like harness the full power of the SQLite database without worrying about the underlying concepts, right? So that's what Room is. So one of the reasons like why we should use Room is that for its compile time verification of SQL queries. Like before like installing the app, like we can we can verify whether our queries will be executed or not. Like sometimes what happens that you have written a query, but the table has itself not been created, right? So that can cause a lot of problems. But that is not an issue with Room, as it does compile time verification of SQL queries. There is also less boilerplate code. Like when we used to use SQLite with Android, we need to write a huge amount of code. But with Rooms, it has become very easy, and it is also easily integrated. So just to talk a bit about Room, like how Room and how we use it with Android Studio. So there are basically three components of whenever we say about creating a database using the Room library. The first is the database. It represents the DB, like it's an object that holds the connection to the SQLite database. You create an instance of this database, a singleton instance that you can use to like perform queries over that database, right? Then we have this entity. So what this entity is, it represents the table within that Room database that we have created. So like in other relational databases, like if you have used MySQL, there is a table, right, made up of column and rows. It's similar to that, but we create this using, like, we create this entity using something called an data class, where we just make a class. We define its properties and its attributes, and then directly that database is created. Uh, then we have this DAO. DAO means data access objects. This is what we use to access the database. Like using DAOs, we run our queries, right? So let's look at the architecture of the Room database. So basically down here, like we have the rest of our app, right? We have created an app. We need the user to interact with our app, and we, whatever the interaction the user does, we need to save it to our database. So we have our app, we have our Room database. So whenever the user interacts with our app, we like get the data access objects, and using that DAOs, we get the entities from our database. Like you can consider entities as the table. So from in which table we want to save the data, right? So we use the entities, get the entities from our database, then we persist the changes, like we save the changes back to the database. And in the entities, we use the set get field values. Like if you want to save something, you use the set field values. If you want to retrieve something, you use the get field values. So that's with the architecture. So let's get started with the code. Do you guys have any doubt till now, or is it clear? Hello.
Guys, we need like if you have no doubt, then you can just put in yes in the chat box, or you can just unmute yourself and share what you felt. And if you have any doubts, then you can surely unmute yourselves and ask that what is your doubt or whatever you are facing. Okay, great. So it was really great from Mukund as of now, and he will be starting with the code. So now the real part begins, and I expect your concentration, and obviously just stay active, and we would be doing great. Okay, Mukund, over to you.
Okay, thanks, Jay. So first, let me like show you what we will be building today, right? So this is okay. So this is what I hope this is visible. So this is what we will be building today, like a simple app where you can like enter your data and save it. And as you can see, it is displayed here in this recycler view, right? We can add more data. And then you can like delete it using the delete button. So this is what we will be building today. So first of all, like, let me open my Android Studio. Just a second. So is this visible?
Yes, Mukund.
All right. So skipping the easier part, like I have just created a new project, and like I have some boilerplate code already ready so that I can quickly explain things to you, right? So the first thing you need to do when using the room database is to add some dependencies. Now, if you guys remember, we used to have our dependencies in the build.gradle file, where you need to like implement the dependencies that you are going to use. Like if you are using any third-party libraries, like I once used an scratch view implementation. Like you see, if you have used Google Pay, they give scratch cards, right? So like if you want to use any third party in dependencies, you need to like implement them in this build.gradle file. So we are going to use rooms. So I have already uh, included it. You can see it here. I hope the font is fine. Is it too small, or should I make it bigger? Deep.
Yes, it's visible and clear, so no need to do any change.
Okay. And we will be using the recycler view, which will be explained by Deep. So we have also like implemented it. So whenever like we make any changes to the build or gradle file, we need to sync it again. So that's with the like including the dependencies. Then when we create uh, the database, so it's a little bit different from other uh, projects that you have worked with, I think. So for that, what we do is we create an package called db, or any name you want. So how you can do is that you can click on the package, and then you can just select new package. So I have already created the db package for you. In that db package, we will create the three files that I talked about earlier. uh, uh, that was the database, the entity, and the daos, the data access objects, right? So let's start with the user entity. So just to tell you again, what entity means, that it defines, it is you can consider it is equivalent to the table, your relational table that is created in the database. So creating that is actually very simple. So what we do is like we first create an data class. We create an class in this db file. You can create it using the simple java class, and you can name it user entity or any name you want to give, right? So after creating an class, you need to give it the data keyword, because we are creating it for an database, right? So we use the data, we create an data class, and in that we need to annotate with the @entity, so that our main activity dot kt file knows that this is our entity file, where we have defined the schema for our database, right? So we annotate. This is called annotation when we write something using this like if you guys have used java before, there was annotation in that too. So we annotate it using the @entity, and then we give the table name, whatever we want to give. Like I have given here user info. After that, like we can we can just give this we can give the attributes that we want our table to have, like the column values that we want our table to have. Like the most common is the id, like you need a primary key to uniquely identify each row, right? So we create some attributes for our table. Like I have created an id, a name of the type string, an email, and a phone number. And we can give the attributes column name, like this annotation gives the column name for this attribute, right? So we use the keyword @column info to give the name, id, name, email id, and phone, and we use this primary key annotation to tell that this id is going to be our primary key. And setting this auto generate equal to true is that we need not give the id again and again. Like if we set it to we have set it to 0 here once, so it will automatically generate a new id for each entry in the table, a unique id. So this is how we create an entity. Any doubt till now?
No, no, clear.
Okay.
Clear. No
Okay.
doubt.
So after we have created an entity, the next thing we want to do, like after completing these steps, you have done like 30% of the work. Like you have got your table, but you want something that can interact with that table, so that you can like insert data, update data, list that data, right? So we create what a data access object to do that, right? So the DAO file is actually an interface. So in that interface, again, like in this when we made that entity file, we use the annotation @entity. So in the DAO we use the annotation @DAO, right? So it's an interface. Again, you can like simply create an interface by going right click in db new, and there would be an interface somewhere here, right? So so what this DAO is like, it's a way you can interact with your database, in short. So we if you look at here, we created an query here where, like, if you have got some experience with SQL, like select star from user info. If you guys remember, we created an table named user info here. So what we are doing here is that we are creating a query using the @query annotation, right? So like it's this simple, actually. Like it's not even an ORM, like it's an whole library that like converts this into an SQL query, and it's very easy to use, right? So we use the @query annotation to create this query. Then we create an function that this query, what it does is that it gets the info of all the users, right? Then we create something then we create other functions where to insert the info, delete the user, and update the user, right? So we will like implement these methods in our main activity file, right? So this is how like we create an data access object. Like using this we can interact with our table. So after that, after both of these steps are completed, like we have done 70% of our work. Now what we need just is that we need an instance of our database. Like we need a database, right, where we can store our we can store our data. So to create an instance of our database, we create an class called room app db. Like you can give it any name according to you. It's an abstract class. So in that, we actually create an instance of our database, then like assign our entities to it. Like the entity that we have created, we assign it to that database, so that like it knows like, yes, this database contains this table. Then we use the DAOs to interact with that database, in short, like manipulate that table. So how we create that DAO is that we simply like create an abstract class like we created earlier, by right clicking and new class. Then we annotate this one with @database. Like we created an entity using @entity. We created an data access object using @DAO, right? Uh, so like we annotate it, and then we pass all the entities that we have created to the database, right? So if we have multiple entities, we need to pass it here, so that our database knows that this entity, we are using this entity, like we are using this table, right? So what this version to, like when you are creating it the first time, there is no need to like create this version. But after you make some like changes to the database, like if you migrate some changes, then you will have to like update the version, like which version of the database you are using, so that like we can keep track, and if anything wrong happens, you can always roll back to the previous version, right? So coming back, we create an abstract class, and that abstract class extends the room database. So the room database, like after like in implementing the dependencies room, we get this room database class. So our abstract class extends this room database, and we need to like create an abstract function for the DAO that we created, right? So we create an abstract function for the data access object that we created. Then we create an companion object. This is to like just to make sure that this like the database is singleton. Like so, we definitely don't want multiple instances of our database. So we create an companion object, and we create an instance of our database. So this part here, it is also it will not be included whenever you create an database first time. It is just to check like which version of the, like which migration of the database on you are on, which version you are using. So after that, then we create an function where we check like if the instance of the database has already been created, so we need not create an instance of that database again. So if it's null, that means the instance has not been created. We create an instance of that database, give it a name, then we allow the main thread queries. This add migrations is also not necessary for the first time. Then like we allow main thread queries, right? So like if you had attended the previous session, we studied something about coroutines. So in the room library makes use of coroutines to like make like to allow concurrent queries on the database. So we allow that using this main thread queries, and then we build our instance. So our instance has been created, and then we create an destroy instance function where we like if you want to destroy our database, we just like instantiate our instance with null. So that's all about the three main components of the room library: the entity, the data access objects, and the database. I hope it's clear till now. Any doubts? So one thing like I would like to tell you is that you need not worry like who is going to remember like this much long stuff. This is actually everything is all boiler plate code. Like these are the things that you should all like you are always going to copy and paste. Like you need not remember this. It's going to be same for each and every project. Just you will what the things you will change is that the number of entities that you are using. Otherwise this whole thing is going to remain the same the whole time. So I think that's clear.
Okay, that was really great from your side. And Mukund, so you are done till now? And
Yes, and
okay,
from here like for the UI part and how like you can like connect the
Deep.
database, it will be taken by Deep. Yes.
Great, great. So guys, see, as of now, Mukund has taught you the things, and obviously we will be trying our best to share the boiler part that he has taught us, and we will be giving our best. So Mukund, is that possible that we can share the things with them
Yes,
in a way?
I think yes, like we have the project uploaded on GitHub. Let me just
Great.
share the link. I will
Sure.
just share.
So see
Yes.
guys, we have already this thing available, so everyone you will be having a we can say a normal, we can say, like a noting down list thing of your own, and you'll be having an application of your own in your mobile. So from now onwards, Deep will be taking the main part about UI and database connectivity. So over to you, Deep. You can go ahead.
Yes, Jay, thank you. Thank you, Mukund, for amazing knowledge about database. So I'm sharing my screen. So is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about Recyclerview. I'm gonna talk about Recyclerview today. So why this kind of odd name Recyclerview? Because when we have a larger data set and a small window, so then we have to use a recycle view, and this has been introduced by Google in IO 2017. So it's a revolutionary framework. So before recycler view we use list view and a grid view. So it's a updated version and optimized version from both. So recycler view is a view group that renders any adapter based view in a similar way. So it is kind of similar to list view and a grid view, but in list view we have to put many adapters like a click listener, double click listener, and etc. But in recycler view we have to put only one adapter and just put data in it. So this is the architecture of recycler view, how we are going to implement recycler view. So first of all we have to manage layout manager. So in layout manager we'll put grid layout, linear layout, or we can put anything in three options. So then we'll implement adapters. So in adapter we'll try to do a data sets, we'll try to implement data sets. And so this is the image of a recycler view. So here we can see we have a large data set. So we want to implement in a small window. So what recycler view does is whenever we scroll down, so the test label number 1 and 0 will be deleted from the memory. So it will be a CPU optimization. So it's a great for us because of this optimization. So before recycler view we use list view. So required view holder in adapters. So why it is better than recycler view? So we are gonna see 6 points for that. So in recycler view adapters we use class called view holder. In list view we don't use that, but it is very much important for optimization. So and customization item layout. So we can do many kind of customization in layouts. And then animation. So there are many example we are going to cover in last part of this slide. So there are many animations available in recycler view framework. So manual data source, manual item decoration. So we are going to implement item decoration in our app too. Manual click detection. So in list view there is only one click detection, but in Recyclerview there are two type of click listeners. So it's a better. So in Recyclerview there are 5 kind of classes that we need to implement or we can implement. So first of all is adapter. So it wraps the data and creates the view for individual item. Then view holder holds all sub view that depends on current items data. Layout manager place item within the available area. So layout manager does is like we need a linear layout, so it implements that. Item decoration, via item decoration we can decorate our Recyclerview. Item animation, so when we scroll down we need some animation, so via item animation calls we can animate our app or Recyclerview. So we are gonna implement adapter, view holder and layout manager in our app, so we will see that in a while. Recyclerviewadapter. So this provides two roles. First is they provide access to underlying dataset and they are responsible for creating a correct layout for individual items. So in a Kotlin or in a Recyclerview, we need to implement 3 methods. It is compulsory that we have to use because Recyclerview is an abstract class. So this 3 method we'll have to use, otherwise it will show an error. So first of all is a create view holder. So and bind view holder, getting item count. So these 3 methods we are gonna see in our app in just a few minutes. So there are 3 type of layouts that we are gonna use in layout manager. First is linear layout manager, grid layout manager and staggered grid layout. So this is a staggered grid. So here the width will be constant or the height will be constant, but we can change width when height is constant and we can change height when width is constant. So here we can see width is constant but height can vary. So that's a staggered grid layout. Animators. So this is one of the example of scrolling through animator. So many of us have seen in Play Store a snap to center effect. So it can be done by a Recyclerview. So let's check our app now. So is my Android Studio visible?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you guys. So do you have any doubt up till now? Guys, answer please.
No, no doubt.
Okay, thank you. So first of all, we are gonna see a view model. So basically a view model is a connection between activity and a database. So we'll implement a class called main. So main view model, main activity view model, and we are gonna extend Android view model. So it's a class provided by Android. So Android view model, and we'll pass app in it. So we'll create an object called all user. So it will be a mutable live data. So in this we'll implement our data. So this our data. This is our data. So KD. So this all row will be passed in mutable live data. So it's a type called list. So if you have learned Python, you know what is list. And the type of this list is a user entity that Mukund has told us about. This is a user entity class, this data class. So the all object will be a user entity objects and it will be a mutable live data. So whenever we initialize the app, we'll always get all user. This function will always get called. So what we are gonna get from get all users? Let's see that. So user data access object will create an object. So it will connect to first of all database, then our main database from our app, and will implement user data access object. So user DAO means user data access object. So it will return a user data access object. So what we want is all users information, and we have to store it in a list. So what we'll do is from our object user DAO, we'll perform a function called get all user info. So here, so we Mukund has already implemented that for us. So let's move to another. So there will be a many queries like insert, update, and delete. So when insert will be used, so here we'll put our name, ID, and number. Then insert query will be used. So when we click on some of our rows in Recyclerview, then our update user information query will be used, and whenever this delete user info query will be run, when this delete rate icon will be clicked, then we'll use delete user information. So this is all same. We will have a user data access object, and we'll perform this delete user query, and we'll pass our entity object. Same from update user, and same for insert user. Okay, so are you clear with the view model, activity view model? Guys reply.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So let's move to our main activity. So first of all, now let's check our UI first. So this is our design. Let's zoom in a bit. So first of all, how we have created our UI. So first of all, we have added 3 text buttons, then a text view, then a button, and a recycler view. We just have to drag and drop. So why this, we can make this UI code. So let's go to code. So there are 3 edit text, 1 button, and a recycler view widget. Okay, as you have seen. So we required a row. So whenever we access our data in Recyclerview, we need a row that implements this only, this 3 KD1 and 236. So we need a XML file for that. So this is a Recyclerview Row XML file. It requires in all the Recyclerview. Remember, always you have to add a Recyclerview row, or you can name anything, but we need to have a row XML file. So here we have a, see, as you can see in the app, so there are 3 text view only and 1 image view. So this this is an image view. Let's check in our code. So there are 3 text views and 1 is an image view. And as you can see, this is the image file. First of all, always use image in a drawable. So whenever you have to add an image, put it in the drawable folder. Always remember this. Now let's go to our main activity. So main activity, always app compat activity always extends this, and we'll implement Recyclerviewadapter.row listener. So this is an interface. So we'll create two objects. First of all, object of class Recyclerviewadapter. Second is main activity view model that we have seen like just before, this one of this class. Okay, so then we whenever this app will create, we'll pass our activity main XML file in our class, so that our UI will be created. So let's see now our main thing, Recyclerview, how to apply it. So first of all, we'll use Recyclerview.apply to apply our Recyclerview. So as I have mentioned, there are 3 main classes that we have to implement in Recyclerview. First of all is adapter, view holder, and layout manager. So let's check here. This is a layout manager. This is a linear layout manager. So this is a linear layout, and we'll pass our main activity as a context. Then for adapter, we have created our object Recyclerviewadapter, and we'll pass our main activity in it. So and will pass it in the adapter. So let's talk about decoration. So now, as you can see in the app, there is a one small line in between every row, every user. So how we are going to implement that? Let's check that. So we'll call a first divider item decoration. Then we'll pass our application context and what kind of line we want. So we want a vertical line. So as you can see, it's a vertical line. So we want a vertical line, and we'll use a divider. So our divider object and pass it through add item decoration here. So now let's view model. So view model is an object of our main activity view model. It's a so what it does is it connects our main activity to our database. So it connects our it passes our main activity and passes all the user here, as you can see here. So let's check our first of all save button. Save button. When we click on save button, what happens in background we are gonna see now. So save button set click on listener. Whenever we click on save, uh, this will happen. So first of all, what we type in our three text fields here, it's gonna save in name, email, and phone. So if we enter save, then this query will perform until now here. So Mukund has already told about the user table. So it will pass the value in the user table, and our view model, and this our view model will help us to do that. It's an intermediate object that helps our main activity and database, connect our main activity and database. So if we don't press, then so it will pass a blank in everything. So I have not added anything. In name there is blank, ID blank, and number blank. So if we hit save, there is nothing saved in our database. So we can implement this via else function. So let's start what is this three text does. So whenever we enter text, like let's do 1 and number will be anything. So whenever we hit save, so our text fields will be empty. So here you can see our text will get empty when we hit save. So we can implement that by name input dot set text equal to empty, email input dot set text equal to empty, and phone input set text equal to empty. So let's check how to delete our entries. So whenever we press this image delete, so this will happen. Our view model object, and will run this function called delete user info, and will pass our user object in it. So let's check in our view model. So here it is our delete user info. So it will perform this, and our whole content will got deleted, as you can see here. Then item click listener. So what it does is whenever we click on one of the rows, it will automatically put the information in text fields via this. So name input dot set text. We have set the text from a particular user and put it in the text view. Via this 4 lines we can do that, and we have to change the button to update because we are going to update the data. So via save button dot set text we can update the data like this. Now let's move to adapter. So here we have passed the adapter. As you can see, we have called our Recyclerviewadapter. So it will call this file called Recyclerviewadapter. So as I have mentioned, there are 3 main functions that we have to, otherwise there will be an error. So on create view holder, get item count, on binding view holder. So what this on create view holder does is, so whenever we require a new view, it creates a one for us. So we just have to pass our parent view group type, that is integer, and we have to extend Recyclerview.adapter and my view holder. So in it we have to inflate our layout. So what layout inflator does is, it will take input as our activity file. As you can see, recycler_row, it will take this as an input, and output will be our view group. So it will create a view group for us. So it will create a view object for us. So let's move to our on binding view holder. So what it does is, whenever the data gets changed, it will help to create a new view, and it will change the data in it. So whenever we change, this holder item set on click listener will perform, and all the items in it will be changed via listener.on item click listener, and will pass item positions. Holder bind, and will in our bind functions, as Mukund has told us about, will pass our item position. That's we are gonna change. So this is the main thing. In list view, we don't have to use my view holder, but to optimize our app, to optimize our recycler view, we have to use this my view holder. So first of all, we'll pass our name, email, phone, and delete user ID. Then we'll bind our data in it, as if you have done a third unit in study gems, you know how to bind the data and etc. So here we are gonna bind our data. So now let's talk about our interface. So we have already checked our interface, but we haven't checked how it runs. So this is our interface, row click listener. So here it will listen to our click. So here we'll click, so it will listen and call this on item click listener. So here if we click, it will implement on item click listener, and if we implement our delete, then it will on delete user click listener. Okay, yeah, and so that's it. We have created our app, we have implemented all the things. So have you guys enjoyed? So I have completed my app, backend stuff, and UI. So that's it from my side. If you have any doubt, we are starting a Q&A session now. So go ahead, guys.
Guys, so it was really great from Deep, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So I would just like to ask a few questions that you guys are having any questions or any queries. You can obviously unmute yourselves and ask that to Deep. And plus one thing is that how many of you guys were doing hands-on with us? Any one of you just raise your hands. Anyone from you was doing hands-on, just please raise on your hands. That would be great. I guess Jeet was one of it who was very active during the session. Maybe Jeet, you can just share some questions, or if you have anything to ask, it would be great. Anyone? So I guess everyone is clear with the same. So I would request Deep and Mukund to turn on their cameras and just say a few words after the session. That would be great. And then after that we can end the session over here. So I would just like to ask Mukund and Deep is that can you guys provide these things to the audience? Like the APK, Mukund has already provided the GitHub repository,
Yeah.
and Deep, if you can provide the APK of the application, then it would be great. Everyone would be having a list maker of their own.
Okay. Just a minute.
So,
I'll share it.
not as of now. We will be sharing it to the, we can say, the audience after the session ends. We'll be doing it by the end of the day, most probably. So, it was a great audience, and thanks a lot for attending this session. We would like to end this session over here, and thank you, Mukund and
You.
Deep, for joining us and like making us learn this much. Okay, Jeet, you would like to say something?
Yes,
You
Jit,
were
go ahead.
saying,
Yes.
You wanna
Yes.
say
Yes.
something?
yeah, go ahead.
I have one question. To implement GUM library, is it compulsory to use only Android Jetpack? I mean, can we use normal Android instead of Jetpack Android apps?
Like, again, your voice is
Jeet, maybe you can just type the question and I'll narrate it for you. That would be great. Your voice was breaking. Um, Mukund and Deep, someone from you can
yes,
answer
yes,
the question. His question is,
yes,
it is compulsory to use Android X for room library.
yes. You have to use Android X.
Yeah, yes, like I said earlier, the room library is provided with the like Jetpack, so you need to use the Android X to use the room library.
So it is
Okay,
part of Android Jetpack. So Recyclerview and Room will be available in Jetpack only. So we have
great,
to implement that.
great. So this is it from your side. Anyone of you guys have any questions, then you can surely unmute. We are there available till 5. We have 3 minutes more to go, so you can just unmute yourself and the rest can leave if they want. That would be great.
Yes.
Thanks a lot for attending this session.
And don't forget to finish all the 10 lessons. Okay, guys?
Yeah,
So deadline is 25 January.
yes.
Thank you everyone for joining. Jay, if you can stop the recording now.
Yeah, sure, great.